Hey, welcome back to the All Access Podcast. My name is Wayne Brown. I'm so glad that you joined us today. I am so thrilled that you're here, and I'm telling you, I'm excited about our guests. Today, I have Pastor Anthony Brown and Megan Perkins, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know what's going to be said between these two, but it's going to be awesome. So you want to listen to the entire podcast. Also, we're glad to be sponsored by Novity. Novity is a way to expand and grow your church engagement. And so if you want more information about that, you can go to novitybrand.com. And listen, I'm telling you, this is a great company and you should want to connect with them. Pastor Anthony, outreach is really one of the big things on your heart. Your campus probably does it better than any other campuses at the church. And don't tell them I said that, but
I won't.
Man, it's really, really great. And I know that there are a lot of people who are passionate about outreach. And I know there are a lot of churches and pastors that are passionate about it. So we're going to dive into it, talk a little bit about it, how to plan it, how to get going, Megan, how to help us make outreach work in our communities. And I'm really, really thrilled about this topic today. So first of all, there are many needs and in the community, and there's just so much to be accomplished. How do you guys really start to think, man, how do you filter those needs, and how do we even plan outreaches and say this is what we're going to focus on and all that kind of stuff?
I'll start it off. Let's go. It's by no means have we perfected it. I think it's one of those deals where you learn as you go, and we try to do things that one are beneficial to the community and. At the end of the day, the number one goal is to reach the community, right? That's the word outreach. And so we start there. How can we reach the community and say, hey, our church, of course, loves you, but ultimately Jesus loves you. And so anything that we can do to make sure that message is clear that, hey, we're here, we're present, and we love you guys. And so the first thing we try to do is, what are the needs of the community? So we have to assess. And there's many ways you can assess the needs of the communities. You can talk to people in your church that live in different areas. You can reach out to government officials. You can reach out to businesses. We kind of use all of those avenues to figure out, okay, what are some of the things that we can do? And then as far as how do we choose of all of those things, it's touch and go. And we try to be seasonal, right? Because we want to maximize our efforts. And so if, for instance, we have an amazing event coming up soon next year, Extravaganza, that's around Easter. And so we try to tie it into the calendar schedule of both real people, right? Both real people in our church. And just to be as effective as possible. And so just try to be strategic and flow through the ebbs and flows that people are already going through.
Makes sense.
Because there's so much to be done. Can't do it all.
Absolutely. Megan?
Like he mentioned, even just utilizing the people in your congregations and, hey, in the place that you live, who do you know that has a need? And don't try and overcomplicate it, especially if, you're building this culture of outreach in your church or in your congregation. But just, hey, who do you know? What can we do? What are you capable of? Let's start there. So it's really simple steps to do the thing that just as Christians, this is, how we live our lives just day to day.
No, I think that's really, really great. Anthony, we're talking a little bit about all these different areas and ways that you can really connect to the outreach. You say you can go and talk to officials. You can talk to people in your church. Have you found anyone to be more effective than the other, or have you just utilized all of those methods?
We've definitely utilized all of them, and it's based on the outreach we choose to do. And so there's some outreaches you don't really need to talk to government officials. One of the outreaches we did a couple months ago that was a hit came out of an idea from one of our B group leaders. And it was to do a garage sale, a free garage sale where we just collected anything that people wanted to give to be a blessing. And of course, we put up some parameters. Hey, don't bring us clothes or broken toasters, that people aren't going to want. And ended up with over $50,000 worth of stuff to give away to the community.
My goodness.
And of course, we set up prayer tents and all kinds of things. And that didn't require any government officials. It didn't require a budget. All we needed to do was set up tables, put clothes on it, and bless the people that came.
Bro, and that was a great event.
Come on.
I saw people get prayed for. People gave their hearts to Jesus.
It was amazing.
It was a tremendous event. Tremendous event. That's awesome. So, okay, we can probably deep dive into that and spend a lot of time on it. But, most pastors really recognize the need and maybe even are aware of the need, right?
Yep.
Like they really get it. They say, man, yes, we want to do outreach in our church, but I'm struggling to get people mobilized,
Yeah.
right? Just, I have a passion for it, but how do I get the people to have a passion for it? Megan, talk to us a little bit about how do we get people mobilized, even here at our church?
I think part of it is just having something for them to connect to. You can't mobilize somebody if you don't have anything for them to mobilize to.
Come on.
So, starting with, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel either. Like, find those things that already exist in your community. Like, everyone, everywhere can find something similar to a food bank.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's just go volunteer there. Like,
Yeah.
start small and, like, let's start doing the thing and make this part of our schedule, part of our calendar, put value on it. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it. But when you're excited about something, other people will be excited about something.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if they don't even know it's an option, though, then they're not going to jump on board because they don't know that they can, or they don't know that they need to, or they don't realize why it's important to, or, we can over spiritualize things and like have all this kind of Christian lingo of, oh yeah, we, spread the gospel and we love on people, but how do you do that?
Yes.
What does that look like practically? And so, setting up opportunities, but then also bringing people along with you so that they can learn how to do the same. And so then it's not you by yourself, but it's, hey, my leaders in my church, guys, this is something that's important. This is how we're going to step out and do this thing. Can you look for areas in your neighborhood? Can you find local nonprofits that we could partner with? What's out there for us to do? And you bring your people that you're leading. And so it becomes a person-to-person thing rather than, okay, hey, go outreach your community. But if you want somebody to do something, you have to have something for them to do, even if it's just a starting point. But having a way, like if you're excited about something, they'll be excited about something, but there has to be that something to begin with.
I love that. I love that. And, I'm glad that you said it again, because I was going to bring that back up. If you're excited about something,
Come on.
then they'll be excited about it. And too often, I think we're telling people to do something that we're not really excited. We know that it should be done, but we're not really excited about it. People get passionate about the things that you're passionate about. And I think that's exactly right. So if you're a pastor and you're out there and you're saying, man, we need to do outreach, get passionate about it. Get all excited about it, because they will get excited with you.
Yes, I love that so much. And they can tell, right? It's easy. And I've done it before where it's like, hey, I know there's things we should be doing, but I'm really excited about something else, and I'm trying to push this other thing, but nothing else other than me saying it is showing that I'm excited about it. And so if I don't celebrate it, I'm not excited about it. If I'm not able to give personal experiences of me doing things out in the community, our people aren't going to buy into it. So I love that so much. I think we have to be absolutely convinced that it's something we should do, and then we have to choose to be excited about it and show that excitement.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And knowing that the level of excitement that you show is like, they're not going to meet that at first anyway. So like,
come on,
don't just talk about it and, oh yeah, this is something I'm really excited about. Like, show me multiple times, not just the one time you did something.
Come on.
Like, understand that this is, something that we're cultivating in ourselves. Every time we do an outreach, it's flexing that ministry muscle and learning the needs of the community and how can we do this more, better, and when I say bigger, I don't mean like it has to be a big event, but like more consistently, this is a constant rather than of sporadic. And that's when people, they see it and it's consistent, and that's when it means something.
Give you a perfect example. Last year, talking about being excited about something, last year, Pastor Jonathan went on a trip to Kenya, right? And we've always believed in missions. Pastor Jonathan's believed in missions. We've talked about it. We've sent missions trips out. But he went out to Kenya and was there and brought his family out there. And I mean, when I say it made an impact on his life, it made an impact. And so, when he came back, I mean, he preached a whole series about missions. He was all fired up about missions, still is. And all of a sudden we went from having about 50 people who went out on missions trips in 1 year to over 300 this year because, and we had to send out more trips than ever before because we had a pastor who was fired up about it and wasn't just saying you go, but he went and has gone again and multiple times, but he's passionate about it, and so I think that is what's going to lead to people
absolutely
going out. So when we talk about outreach, I mean, there's so many different types of outreaches, right? I mean, there's big like food bank things. There's things that you can do to reach children and reach the community, and we've done all of it. We've done some of the big stuff, you know, and we've brought in big stuff and all types of fairs and all that kind of stuff, and we've done other things. The question is, does it have to be expensive?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I think it's easy to think, well, if we have more money to spend on this, it makes it better. And sometimes money doesn't make something necessarily better. It just amplifies what the thing already is. And so if it's not good to begin with, then we don't need to throw money on it. But outside of that, there's so many things we can do for free. Preaching Jesus is free. We don't need money to do it. Of course, money helps, get it further, but we start off with just our mouths. And I think one of the greatest things we could ever do that's free is literally just show somebody you care about them by just talking to them, stopping them, hey, can I pray for you? I think we tell our people that all the time, hey, if all else fails, offer prayer. You can't go wrong offering prayer, and it doesn't cost you anything.
That's great.
And so knowing that Jesus is the end goal and not impressing somebody or convincing them that, like, I can't buy you into my church, right? Let's say you're being evangelistic. There's not enough hot dogs or T-shirts to give somebody.
That's right.
But if you give them Jesus, which is absolutely free, it'll change their lives forever.
No, that's really, really great, man.
I think, too, from like a planning and like church budget perspective, like knowing that the money that we have is money given to the Lord, so stewarding that, and so being strategic, and how can we make this efficient? How can we make this
great
streamlined? How can we even bring other people on board? Because again, if you present opportunities, people will jump in.
That's so
like, if they love Jesus, then they love people.
That's right.
And so if they know that there's a need, they'll jump in and they'll give. They'll donate. They'll give time if they don't have the finances or the objects to give to whatever it is that you're doing. But they'll serve and they'll support if you give them the opportunity.
You know what? I think sometimes it can be said that outreach is not just an event, but it's really a lifestyle. And won't you guys speak into that? I mean, how is it a lifestyle?
Man, I believe that so much. I think the more we can incorporate that into the lives of our people, the more fruit we're going to see. Because if they believe the only time we need to do outreach is when there's an organized event, then they're going to be limited and not think the way they need to outside of those events. But, we've done our best to foster that in our people. Like, hey, we don't just do outreaches once a month or whenever. We do have moments where we do them, but every opportunity you get, you can reach out to somebody. And that's, how we start getting testimonies in about different ones saying, hey, I ended up making gift baskets for all of my neighbors and 2 of them are coming to church. Or, I just went around sharing my testimony because they realize, hey, it's not just an event. It's something that we do. And every now and then we gather together and make an event. But it's because it's something that is fostered inside of our lives.
I love that. I really do think that's great. I think, this year, I love there was an angle, Megan, that you took on an event that we did, which is that we do annually called Love LA. Something we've done for years. We go out in the city. I think most churches have that time where they mobilize the entire church to go out, as many as they possibly can, to go out in the city and love on the city. And we do that from all of our campuses. But this year, the angle that you took on it was, let's do the exact same thing. Not make it just an event, but let's make it a lifestyle. And let's let this not just be something that happens today, but something that people can take on and continue to do. Talk a little bit about that angle.
Right. So Love LA is our big serve day that we work to mobilize as many people as possible in our congregations and just serve in the community in practical ways. And so, it's something that, as an admin, as a staff member at the church, I'm project managing and I'm planning for to to get that mobilization going, to have a plan to put into the hands of campuses for them to be able to know how to communicate to their people, to encourage them and get them excited about what we're doing. But it was our, group leaders that were the ones leading outreaches. And so we would resource them with like, hey, here's ideas of what you could do. And here's all that you need to know to be able to do it, like ready, go. And so I'd have people come up and be like, well, I was thinking of maybe, and I'm like, that sounds great. And they're like, oh, well, they just needed their house repainted. Okay, great, do that. Like, go love on them. That's totally fine. Like, it doesn't always have to be this big grand thing, even if on our side, again, being multi-site and this being like specifically Love LA, a day where we're trying to mobilize a lot of people.
Sure.
On our side, it's big, and it's got a lot of parts and a lot of pieces and a lot of things to consider and plan. But by the time it gets to, the common churchgoer, that's just what's my part in this. I'm not trying to make things complicated, oh, somebody that needs something. Great, go for it. One of the groups at our South Campus for Love LA, they just finished up a project that they have been doing all month already. Their B group and then a friend of theirs, their group got together and they were like cleaning out and gutting this. It was an elderly lady and her daughter was living with her, and I think one of them was ill, and so the house kind of fell into disrepair, and so they needed help cleaning it out, replacing the floors, some damage, or like repainting some walls. They needed new furniture, just different things. And so someone in the B group or one of the leaders knew of this family, and they were all like, well, let's do something. Like, I know how to, do flooring. Well, I know how to do yard work. Well, I have access to, or I actually have furniture I'm trying to get rid of, So they all got together, and over the course of a month or two, we were already working to help this family out. And so when Love LA came, they were like, oh, we'll pick up where we were at on our project and, step out and do this. And so I think knowing that it's simple things that count, because ultimately we're just trying to introduce people to Jesus.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to demonstrate Jesus to people.
That's
so
right.
Not making things so complicated, even if, again, on the planning side, maybe it does have to be a little bit complex. By the time it gets out, it needs to be simple. Like, you don't want to discourage people from stepping out. And that Love LA was a great opportunity to kind of introduce people to the idea of, you go do the thing. Don't wait on us. And we had our, projects that were planned by the church for those that weren't part of groups that, or group leaders that they'd never done an outreach for. So they weren't quite sure, how do I, plan my own, or what do I do? And so there were different projects that they could attach to that, we planned and had. But it was like a onboarding, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Come with us this year. So next year, or even next month with your group, go do the same. And so it was a good kind of like practice run for some of the group leaders, and even some people that I think were passionate about outreach but hadn't been able to do it in a while. It was a great opportunity, perfect excuse to kind of like brush off the dust and get back out there. And again, realize like, oh, I have permission. I think sometimes people are like, oh, why is the church not doing something about? And it's like, well, you're the church, and God put it on your heart. Obviously, you're passionate about it. Go out and do it. Don't wait on us.
That's right.
We have what we have going on, but you know of a need that we don't know, or you actually know the people. Like, if we showed up, it would kind of be weird. But you're right up in it. Go for it. And like, let us know. Maybe we can connect you with other people that have the same passion, the same heart. So let us know that you're going. Maybe we can direct people to you. But like, don't wait on the church.
I think that's really, really good. That's that mobilization. That's that lifestyle. People need to know that they have permission to reach out, and it doesn't always have to be some big organized event by the church. That people can do it on their own. And I love that small group leaders can get out there and do that and be a part of it. What kind of impact do we? And I'm gonna ask this question, then I'm gonna start off by answering it.
Come on,
just because I want to answer it first. But no. But what kind of impact is happening with our leaders and people, and how do we see that because of outreach? What are we seeing because of outreach? Because we're doing it. We could just have church. We have great church, but what kind of impact are we seeing out there? And I'll start by, I think about one of our worship leaders. She's now married and doing great things, and her and her husband are about to take over a church. They're doing amazing. But I never forget, she's a powerful worship leader. But the way we connected to the church, she connected to Bethany, was through an outreach. Her little sister went to a children's outreach that we were having at an apartment complex. And they came out, went to the game. She came out to see what it was all about, got saved, and who knew the gifts that she had, and ended up being powerful. And now she's a lawyer and done just great things for the Lord and continues to do it. But it was just because we reached out and was able to touch that community in that apartment complex. What kind of impact and connections are we seeing because of that? And how is it even affecting our small group leaders?
Yeah, I think it's just lighting a fire in all of our small group leaders, even just members and congregants. I'm thinking of one small group leader right now that, as we started to do this, they took it upon themselves and said, man, I'm passionate about this, and ended up for our city getting a map and laying out a strategic plan to reach out to this entire city over the course of a year. It's just the things like that, all because of an opportunity to say, hey, we're going to be more focused on outreach. We're going to get more in our community, and we're going to do whatever we can to do that. And I think it just lights people on fire to be involved, right? And then when you empower them to reach out and make it a lifestyle, it fires them up for many reasons. And one of them being that now they can be engaged on their terms and on their schedule. Because a lot of times people can't make it to everything we plan. And so to know, hey, I'm empowered outside of what you guys are orchestrating, sign me up. And so I think we've seen a lot more engagement because people are able to be involved even when schedules don't line up with the church's schedule.
Well, because that's the key. You want engagement. You want people engaged. Craig Rochelle said that it's not about church attendance. It's about engagement, right? So it's one of those situations where even when we think about volunteer positions at the church on a Sunday morning, right? There's only so many greeting spots. There's only so many parking spots. Places where you can serve in that capacity. There's only so many people that can be on the worship team. There's only so many Sunday morning spots. But boy, you can outreach the whole city.
Come on.
Right? Everybody can be involved in that. And I think that's where it opens that up and that type of thing. Megan, tell us a little bit about impact.
So I think it kind of shows in a lot of different ways, though. So there was one lady, we went on a mission trip together this summer to Italy and Albania. And when we were in Italy, the church there has a mission school. And so we partnered with the students, and we're doing homeless outreach and outreach to like prostitutes in the area, like all kinds of different things. And so a lot of the team were leaders at one of our campuses, and so they came back on fire. And so one of the ladies was just like, you know what? Every month I'm going to go pass out water bottles at this local park. And I think it's such a small thing. Like, okay, I'm going to go buy a pack of water. I'm going to go pass out water, free water at a park, And so I think it kind of meets people in a practical way. That's just like, hey, I'm here because Jesus loves you. Here's a bottle of water. What's your name? What's your story? Tell me who you are. And so it's like a really simple thing that that is really easy to pull off, not super intimidating. A lot of people were really like, oh yeah, I can do that, and just from that you see, she's walking into church and people are there with her, and like I don't think I've ever seen her walk into the doors by herself, but just having people realize it's real. Not just me as a Christian, Jesus telling me go into all the world, make disciples. Oh, but it's actually not this big, complicated, hard thing to do. It's really simple ways to do that. And then personally, I'm fed and I grow in my faith and my even walk with the Lord, like Jesus and the woman at the well. Like, no, I have food you know not of. Like, I'm good to go. Let's go to the next person. But then, so I'm encouraged. I'm built up in my faith, and like I'm ready to go. But then also, it's going from like, we're not just communities of believers, but like we're bringing people into communities, and they are becoming believers. And so again, like I said, you see people walking into church and they're like, oh, I met them this week at, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Hi, or standing at the welcome desk, this weekend, our Connect Center, and hey, this is my first time. Oh, great. How did you hear? Oh, well, somebody invited me. Great. We're glad you came. It's just, you just see them show up and pop up. And I mean, like you said, the story of, oh yeah, that person got connected because we did an outreach at a random apartment, or that person's here because someone handed them a water bottle on a weekend. And it grows the body of Christ in the way that you see it in the early church. Like, they shared what they had. They demonstrated the love of Christ, even in the midst of persecution, and the church grew. And so even doing that, simple, practical ways that are really accessible to people. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to pull off, and you see the fruit of it.
Absolutely.
Even whenever you don't expect to. Like, people are just popping up everywhere.
That lady that you were talking about that went to Albania with you guys. We interviewed her while we were out for Love LA, and she said a powerful statement. She said after being at that missions base and doing that, she said she came back and she thought to herself. She said, "Lord, I'll never let a week go by that I don't reach out to people."
Yeah.
Come on.
And I thought that was so powerful. And I think that's super important. And it was as simple as handing out a water bottle. And, when you think about outreaches, I want to close our time with this, because, again, we could probably even do a part 2 on this, because outreach is important. But what are some, really bottom of the shelf outreaches cookies on the bottom of the shelf outreaches that we can do that we would say, man, this is a way to do it right here. Like, we can do this. It doesn't take a big church budget to do it. What are some like we could do this?
So I know some of the again, I'll reference Love LA, popular ones, because I was doing all the intake and I got to see all the different ideas people were coming up with. But everyone has lawn equipment, and there's people in your neighborhood that disability,
widows,
whatever the case is. Their situation in life, they can't do their yard. Well, I'll just get my lawnmower over here. I'll do your yard for you. Don't worry about it. Like, we've got you. And it just really, really simple. It didn't cost me anything. I already have that at my house. Water bottles at the park. It takes nothing for me to just drive to the park down the street. So it's again, like we were saying earlier, you don't have to have all of these supplies and all of this, great budget. It's just, what do I have in my hands, and what can I give? Jesus took a box lunch and turned it into a meal. And it wasn't some grand budget. It wasn't some grand plan either. It was just, oh, there's a need right here. What do I have available to fill it?
No, absolutely. And you never know when you're going to see the fruit or what that fruit's going to look like. And a lot of times people don't really remember what you do. It's how you made them feel. And so our prime example, we did an outreach. This was years ago. This was during when we had the 2016 flood. And people, houses are damaged or whatever. We went and helped out a lady whose front yard was messed up, and we didn't do nothing but tear it down and help bring the trash to the front. And years later, this same lady, when her husband passed, not having a home church, came here and was telling everybody, hey, I know Pastor Anthony because years ago he helped me and I need help in this situation. We had no idea this would happen 5, 6, 7 years later. And so I think it's doing the smallest thing you can to let people know that you care. They will always remember how you make them feel. They may not remember exactly what you do, but they will remember how you made them feel. And you don't know when that fruit is going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I think, like you mentioned earlier, it costs nothing to pray for people.
Facts.
And ultimately, like, the whole point of everything that we do is demonstrating the gospel,
Come on.
introducing people to Jesus.
Come on.
Like, if anything that I do doesn't accomplish that, then why did I do it? But then also the smallest thing, going to the store and just being led by the Holy Spirit. God, there's somebody here that you want to talk to. And just allowing yourself to be sensitive to to him and his leading, even in planning outreaches for your church or encouraging your group leaders, your volunteers, your congregants, whoever, to get out and do the thing. Like, just be led by the Holy Spirit, because he loves people.
Yes, he
and
does.
he'll tell you where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
And so, and don't be discouraged either by the outcome or the result.
Come on.
You know, just because we put on this big thing, or we expect to have this return, it didn't look the way that we wanted, it was a flop. Not necessarily. Did you get out and connect with people? Did you love on them? Did you tell them about Jesus? Then you planted seeds, or maybe you watered seeds that someone's been praying and planting for years.
That's great.
And eventually there will be a harvest. And maybe you're the one that harvests, maybe you're the one that plants, maybe you're the one that waters. But you went out there and you did the thing. You were obedient to the Holy Spirit. And it's not going to prove in vain either way. So,
Absolutely.
Megan, you're over here preaching.
Facts.
My goodness.
Facts.
Wow. I'm all fired up. Y'all want to go do an outreach?
Let's go.
Let's go do it. Let's
Right
go
now.
do it, man.
For free. We just gonna go
free.
pray.
That's right. That is great.
No pay, just pray.
That's right. That's right. No, that's so good. And so, I want to encourage you guys that are listening and watching this to really get outside the four walls of your church. I know you can say, man, I'm just waiting for people to come in. We're praying for the harvest. We're wanting people to come in. But the harvest is out there. We just got to go out and we got to get them. And so we want to encourage you. Hopefully this podcast has encouraged you, has challenged you. And if anything, maybe it's even just confirmed some things that have been in your heart. And I hope that it's done that. If you have any questions about outreaches, how we can help you, if there's anything that we can do to give you some examples or anything like that, helping coordinate anything, like a Love LA or a church serve day or what have you. Listen, we would love to serve you guys and to help you. So you can always email us, and we would love to be there for you. Hey, there's more great content coming out over our next several episodes, and so it's going to be really, really good. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today, and hopefully you guys continue to listen, and I know you're going to enjoy it. We'll see you next time.